Okay, I'm live. Awesome. That is so cool. All right. I wanted to try this out again. Hopefully, audio is not all that bad. I know the lighting seems to be freaking terrible. Oh well. I mean, I'm old, so what does it matter? All right. So I was watching a video on I think it was Marjorie Taylor Greene, and she was talking to an ATF inspector or their media guy. Apparently, 15 inspectors showed up to one of the larger gun dealers in America. I had the name, but I misplaced it. So anyway, it's a pretty big retailer. And what I find annoying as all shit is that, even and hey, kudos to Marjorie Taylor Greene for at least going out there. I think one of the managers from the store called her office and said, hey, we got 15 agents here. We could use a little support, maybe a backup or something. So her and a few aides showed up and another congressman, and we're talking to the agent. And what kind of always upsets me about this ATF thing and what's going on in our country is that people talk around the subject, they beat around the bush, and they act as if talking about it and understanding what the inspectors were actually doing, and it's really not that many inspectors for such a large retailer, and blah 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 blah. Instead of going, well, why are you here when your authorization and your jurisdiction does not apply to United States citizens or businesses, but only territories and providences. Now, there's a lot of information on that, and that is the law, just like the law says that your income cannot be taxed. And that's the Supreme Court ruling that income is not taxable, but sources from that or derived from the income can be taxed. So meaning if you make $1 million in sweat equity and exchanging your labor for money, that's not taxable. But if you turn around and invest that and you make money on those investments by no really effort on your own part, you're not exchanging sweat equity for money, you're actually investing, then that's taxable. Okay, that was the Supreme Court ruling. Way back, I think that's the 16th Amendment. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. So what that means is that you're not going to find a judge to agree with the Supreme Court. It's the law of the land until it's not, like abortion and shit like that. So the ATF does not have authority over the citizens of the United States of America. Only our providences and territories. So when Alaska became a state, there was a whole lot of internal workings when they rewrote the Constitution because they were a territory and ATF laws did apply to them, but our FFA or your Federal Firearms Act or whatever they call that. So they rewrote it to where it didn't apply to them because now they were not a territory, clearly stating that they have no authority in a state, only in a territory or providence, like, Rhode Island, not Rhode Island, Puerto Rico and stuff like that. So the rub is when they show up and like I said, kudos to, Marjorie Taylor Greene, for showing up there and going, hey, wait a tick, what are you doing? But honestly, why aren't they just going, why are you here? Well, 15 agents, this is a big store, blah, blah, blah. Saying, no, why are you here on United States soil, harassing United States business owners with a law that does not apply to them? That's like, why are you giving somebody a speeding ticket when they're sitting at home in their burqa lounger? Why are you here is the question, not give me all your bullshit excuses about what you're trying to do, but why are you here? And so this happens all the time. Congress will make laws and they will pass all this shit, kind of beating around the bush instead of just going, no, the Second Amendment shall not be infringed. Shall not is a legal word, shall, which means never can happen. It's like inalienable. But shall means this is the way it will be. You will not, ever, not even on a rainy day when there's a mass shooting, infringe on a person's right to bear arms. So they'll get, I'll see the NRA celebrating the fact that, we got all this, law passed to where now you can conceal carry. It's like, excuse me, you didn't need to pass that because I can carry concealed and I can carry an arm and I can own a gun. And there's not really much you can do about it. And whether it's concealed or not does not mean it's a deadly weapon unless some dumbass attacks me. And I guess his defense would be, well, if I'd have known he had a gun, I wouldn't have robbed him, please. So it's become really fucked up and bullshit when you really look at it. And so these laws get passed, everybody glad hands and high fives and pats each other on the back for passing this law that never should have happened. What they're doing is saying, hey, look, you have some credibility there, lawmakers, to do these things, but we changed it, and now you can carry concealed. It's like, why validify somebody's bullshit? And that's what they're doing with the FAA. Now, if you read James Wesley Rawls' book, Patriots, he goes into great detail in one chapter. I think it's Guns, Lawyers, and Money or something like that, where one of the guys at a gun show explains this law to a gun show owner or organizer, that why, what he was saying to this kid was bullshit because you have no authority to do that. And it gets into a lot of the minutia and the nitty gritty of how it works and stuff like that. Like I say, I don't know it all. And do you really need to know all the facts of thermodynamics to understand that when you touch red hot metal, it's just going to burn the shit out of you? No, you don't need to know all of that. And this is what happens. See, people think that, well, I don't really know. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a doctor. I don't know all this. It's like some things are pretty simple. If the Constitution says thou shalt not or shall not ever infringe on an American's rights to own a gun or to bear arms, then it can't happen. And so a lot of, gun control advocates go, well, there's a comma in there, and the comma, kind of reads that it's like only applies to a militia. Well, okay, let's entertain that stupid shit. Okay, let's say that comma really was put in there by Jefferson, and it's like, well, really, I was talking about militias. But then when you consider a militia, every man, woman, and child in America, born in America, is part of the militia. That's just, you're in a militia, whether it's organized or unorganized. You are a militia member, so then therefore you have a right to bear arms. Now let's look at it from a Supreme Court ruling point of view. The whole thing with the sawed-off shotgun, the Supreme Court actually ruled on this one and said, to the effect, why would a person that would be called up in a militia because there's, a war breaking out, or at your border or whatever, and you need to bring your arms. That's what the whole fucking point was. The militia had guns, so it's like, bring all your guns and let's kick some ass. You wouldn't bring a sawed-off shotgun because it's very useless in a war zone. Now, I disagree. I think any gun is useful And if a shot-off shotgun has no range on it, well, then it's great for hand-to-hand. Before you grab your knife, try that sawed-off shotgun. But anyway, the Supreme Court said this is a stupid weapon when it's sawed off to that level to where it's useless as a weapon of war or to be used when you're called up as a militia, which hence would be a weapon of war. You only bring weapons of war to a war. So if you apply that argument to it, and you go, well, see, the Supreme Court ruled, it's like, okay, well, the Supreme Court said that it would be a non-viable weapon to bring to war, which then the opposite side of that statement then would hold true, that a weapon of war is a legally owned firearm. So a fully automatic weapon, a bazooka, a tank, where do you draw? Because, most weapons in a war, safe, auto, or semi, and then full auto. So those are your selectors. Now most, soldiers are taught, to stay at a 3-round burst. So I think their selector switch can now go, 3-round and then full auto. And because full auto is just spray and pray, it doesn't do any good. Maybe for cover fire, that'd be about it. So if that is a proper weapon of war, according to the Pentagon, then I should be able to legally own that too, based on what the Supreme Court ruled. So the whole point of this is that you can see there's a lot of inconsistencies in what we're seeing day to day in the world. You got Congress people writing laws and pushing through these bills to say that I can carry a gun or I can't, when the Supreme Court has ruled I can carry a gun. Yeah. Open carry has been legal in my state since the beginning of time. Of course, I live in the Wild West of Arizona, so whatever. Towns had ordinances that you had to check your gun with the sheriff or at the bar, which is probably fine. You have a town would have that right if the marshal or the sheriff wanted to enforce it and go, look, we're not saying you can't own a gun. We're not saying you can't carry a gun. We're just saying when you're in town and you're conducting business, we would rather you check your gun with the marshal or the sheriff or at the bar, and they had their ways of dealing with that because they didn't, want that. Still a little stupid to me. Trust a guy, and if he pulls a gun, shoot him, and then it's problem solved. So they're muddying the water with all these debates and laws. And like I said, Marjorie Taylor Greene, great on you for stepping up and explaining what, how you felt about this excessive, force of 15 inspectors, at a retailer that's been in business 40, 50 years. I'm sure they get inspected all the time, and I'm sure they're clean. So all of a sudden now they've become drug and gun dealers, whatever, machine guns and stuff. So anyway, that is that on this subject. And you're going to see that I don't get too many people live because I don't have any subscribers, and I'm still getting used to the whole live streaming thing. So I'm going to be doing them live. And if you get notified, great. Maybe I'll start sending out notifications once in a blue moon about it. You can subscribe to this channel. I'm opening up all my videos to public. Hopefully I don't get shut down for talking about things that people just are afraid to hear. Oh my God, Mark, you said the word gun. Oh, my ears. So anyway, I'll leave it at that. Be sure to subscribe to this channel. And it's at Prepper Guy channel, or I think it's just at Prepper Guy on YouTube. You can find me that way. Click like. It's always good when you like things. In fact, let me go over here and click like myself because I kind of like it. And then what else? If you got any comments, you can leave them in this post here, or you can email me if you want to keep your OPSAC low key. Just email me, mark@prepperguy.com, and we can chat that way. Email, I'm a fan of. Everything else seems to get screwed up. So anyway, talk to y'all later. Hope you found this motivating and slightly inspirational. Talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.